Hello and welcome back to All About Community again. My name is Robert L. Harris. I am your host and my guest is Ron Richardson. Ron is a candidate for the city attorney right here in the city attorney. He currently works for the city attorney's office. As a matter of fact, he's the number 2 person in that office and has been endorsed by the current city attorney, Barbara Parker. And I understand has also been endorsed by, I guess, all of the city council people. So let me ask you this. Do you have any opposition yet?
Not yet. And so for the voters out there, this is, to be clear, this is going to be the election that comes in November of next year of 2024. Right. So the same ballot where we're going to vote for president.
That's what they call ranked choice.
Yeah, and it will be ranked choice, so there won't be a primary. But yeah, at this point, nobody else has thrown their hat in the ring. I think part of that is that, like I said, I'm not an aspiring politician. That I love this office and this work. So for me, that this was the only race that I would consider running for. I think there may be others out there who are considering different options, but for me, this is the work I'm dedicated to. So there was really no point in waiting to announce my candidacy and start getting out there and meeting people.
Good. Now let me ask you, how do you respond to the charge that I hear occasionally that Oakland settles too many cases?
I take those concerns really seriously. One thing I'm cognizant of is that I think the cases that are settled they're much more publicized than the cases that we are able to win maybe at the claim stage when somebody files a claim and hasn't even filed a lawsuit, but we respond in a way that dissuades them from filing a lawsuit. Or when they file a lawsuit and we're able to get that case dismissed on the pleadings or perhaps on the evidence at summary judgment. There's a lot of other cases that don't settle. It's just you don't see those cases at a city council meeting. They're not announced and you won't see them in the papers generally.
Now, how do you respond to the allegation that when you drive up and down, especially District 6 and District 7, you see dumping everywhere, the city ain't not enforcing the laws and stuff? How do you respond to that?
So, going back to the settlements a little bit, I think it's important that there's, in addition to educating the public about what the reality is around what the city attorney's office does, that we also, the perception in and of itself is a problem. If there's a perception that the city is soft on, defending cases, or as you mentioned,
that is definitely a perception.
That's a problem because it encourages plaintiffs' attorneys to come after us, right? You don't want to be perceived as a soft target. Sometimes the best defense is to project that you're not the one to mess with. And so I do think one of the things I want to do is work with the city council and the city administration to be, we are deliberate, but to be even more deliberate about risk management, about trying to predict using the data that we have. We deal with hundreds of claims, thousands of claims a year, hundreds of lawsuits, and there's a lot of data there that we can use to predict where our risk is and where we're going to get sued. Similarly, when it comes to illegal dumping and things like that, one of the things I wanted to go back and mention, in addition to defending the city in lawsuits and suing on the city's behalf, we have a small but mighty, especially for its size, team of affirmative litigators. They're civil prosecutors, and so they can sue. They can go out and sue people who come into Oakland and break our laws.
Well, do they?
They do. They do.
Well, all I can say, I don't think they're suing them enough.
I actually would agree. I think, one of the things that I have worked to do and will continue to work to do is to grow that team. We, as of this time last year, we only had 6 permanent employees on that team, and we had 3 folks who were essentially temps. And one of the things we were able to do in this last budget process was to convert those 3 temporary folks into permanent employees. So we now have 9. And that small team over the last 6 years has brought in over $40 million in fines and penalties for the city. So they're paying their way and then some.
Well, I think they ought to sue some more. It's just ridiculous.
It is. And we need to scale that team up. And that's
Right.
one of the things, with the help of the voters, if I'm here in 2025, I'm going to strongly lobby the council and the mayor's office to add people to that team, because it's a good investment. The fines and penalties that they bring in pay their salaries and then some, and put money in the city coffers to do things like abate illegal dumping,
Right.
hazardous materials, lead paint, those types of things. But it also makes our streets cleaner, safer, and more livable. It's a kind of a win-win equation, and I think we need to scale that team up. There's cases that we're not able to take on because we don't have enough people.
Well, I'm in favor of getting more people, more lawyers to prosecute
Yeah.
and deal with those people that dump. And you notice they don't even go to San Leandro and these other places. They just come right to Oakland and just dump it right there, and it ain't right. And I'm counting on you as the next city attorney to make certain that more is done to stop that kind of behavior, because it is despicable. Don't touch that remote. Put it down. We'll be right back with All About Community. My name is Robert L. Harris. I am your host, and my guest is Ryan Richardson, candidate for Oakland City Attorney. We will be right back.